Hello again. Good morning. Um, I'm out here. I was promised a warm day. It's not warm. It's not warm. It's about, if I were to guess, I'm going to go with about 67 degrees outside. But I got my nice robe on and, it's peaceful. The air is nice and my dog isn't peeing in my house. He's out here with me. So today, I've been wanting to make this video for a couple of days, and it's not so much that I was putting it off, but I think I was just trying to gather up as many points as I could about it, um, and to see if there's anything that I needed to talk about. I'm probably gonna have to do a part two. I can already tell because it's just overwhelming. Um, so I started this little. As you know, I watch a lot of near-death experiences, a lot of testimonies of Christians. And um, recently I was like, I'm gonna just try to get into these, non-religious near-death experiences and stuff and see, it wasn't even so much like exclusively that, but just like this particular channel that I found, which kind of puts them up indiscriminately. And it's really just a long form, them just literally talking and, no other framing of any kind besides themselves. And, I was like, okay, I'm going to do some school and, and listen to these. And I knew that I was going to make a video about it. So then I had to after I'd sort of made up my mind about it, I had to continue triggering myself and watch more of them because I knew that I was going to, say some stuff about it. But yeah, I just, it's not all bad. It's not like they all need to be written off and stuff, but it just, uh, it kind of makes me feel better because it's like people having experiences. God has really, really got a heck of a process going here. He has really made it so that no one can boast. And just because you went through an experience is not going to give you any type of edge. The only thing that's going to give you an edge is the things that God has laid out for you to have an edge with, which is his information. And it's really amazing how it works. So that's really comforting. It's like no one is going to go off and get something different than what God, better than what God has told you. It's just not possible. And you just think, well, how can it just be like this information that's been passed down to me, wrote in one family that's never been anywhere else? How can it possibly be the only? I'm telling you, it's really amazing. And now that you have the internet, I mean, if you want to go test it out, you want to go really just put your brain through the ringer and see if you get anything better. But yeah, so a couple things that I am gleaning from watching these, and that the ones that are not, that are super vague, that just kind of refuse to put any sort of religious tint on it, which I always say, well, I can understand that. We just, because, the religion has just put people through the ringer, not rape and murder and cheating and chaos and lying and bullying and, racism and, drunk people, drug dealers giving you drugs that are going to kill you. None of that. It's religion. It's just really put people through the ringer. So we just really need to have a whole bunch of grace for all the bad stuff that religion has tried to do, which is tried to keep you from uh, death and destruction, and giving you a healthy fear so that you don't literally tear our world apart. So those people have done it wrong, and it's so damaging. So, anyways, so they stay away from all type of religious language, right? And I understand that, but it gets to a point where there's a glee and a joy in the vagueness. They like the vagueness. It's very strange because it's really telling. Because of course, my natural instinct is to say, like, okay, yeah, you like vagueness in this sense, but I bet you don't like it when you're ordering your food. You don't like it when this, and it's like, yeah, no, it's true. There's certain things you don't like. You don't like it when you're building a house, but you don't like that vague staircase to nowhere, which I totally took from this thing that I heard from I forget his name, but he died, and there was a scandal. I can't believe I forgot his name. It's sad. But I just heard that in a debate one time, and I just was like, I was just like, that blow to everyone's stupid ideas was so fantastic and satisfying, because he was talking about, he went to something, and it was like the first postmodern museum or whatever. And maybe none of this ever even happened. It doesn't matter. It's fantastic. Because it was like, oh, it's the first postmodern building. It was like some school, and they're like, yeah, we have a staircase to nowhere, and this just leads whatever. And, we got a chimney that's upside down, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I wonder if they did that to the foundation. Boom! It's like, you are picking and choosing when to be, oh, we're just going to freestyle it. Really? Let me freestyle your house. Let me freestyle your career. And give it, let's take away those medals, because that's, we don't need distinctions, and we don't need judges. So anyways, but they love the vagueness, but it takes a serious dedication to like want the vagueness, to like desire the vagueness in the very depths of your being. Like, that's when you die, you want to go to the vague place that's just like, okay, that's where you want to go. Like, I'm gonna have to like assess that situation and say, like, you are so afraid of both punishment and having to commit to something, that you delight in the vagueness. Like, how can you delight in the vagueness? What about the people that come here and starve and then die? They go back to the vagueness. What about the people that did whatever they needed to do so that those people that cause those people to starve, because it's just starving people, who cares? They get to go to the vagueness. Like, there's so much injustice. I guess all the religious people did that. So where do they go? Where's all the religious people that you hate? They come to the vagueness too, and you just get to go, ha ha ha, I was right, dummies. Is that what you're... That's not enough. There needs to be a righting of wrongs, to the point where if I'm part of those wrongs, then I need to take that like a champ. That's how much I love truth and God. Don't say what I did, because we need to bring this upside down world and have it be right. And we need to all worship and rejoice when all the things that, the people that should really get the credit, the people that really did things, like, you don't want to find out, you don't want to know, like, who really loved God all this time? Like, isn't that your whole deal, your whole beef? Anyways, so they love the vagueness, okay? But through this sort of extreme dedication to stay away from anything religious, you see the sameness, and then you kind of wonder, like, it kind of makes you try to filter the entire Bible through that, because you just suddenly realize, like, okay, well, you're trying to remove all of the religiousness. I'm quote marks. You can't see my finger. All the religiousness. Okay, so let's just say you write a book, and then someone who also has your same experience, they write a chapter in your book, and then a whole book gets compiled. Do you see where I'm going with it? And then everyone follows that tradition that gives them. Is that religious now? And then everybody treats it with a high amount of respect because it brings forth all these good results. Are you the religion now? And let's say that a bunch of people say, no, there's one true God is God, and you decide to take up arms against those people because now they want to erect statues where there were none, because you were just living in your utopia of vagueness. And now they want to come and put, male figures who have penises up and force everybody with aggression. And now you're like, no, not on my watch. And you decide to defend yourself. Are you a religion now? Are you causing strife? How is it different? It's not. It's the same thing, guys. You just have heard one thing over and over. You think you're going to do something different. It's the same format. It's the same idea. It's the same values. It's the same everything, except the details have been changed. So who's right? Now it's about who's right, because when you're saying things that are clearly the complete opposite of this other thing that's being said, and literally this other thing is being said is saying, it's like, I, God, have commissioned these words. Whoever adds to it, curses will be added to them. Whoever takes away from it, good things will be taken away from them. Like, because that's what the Bible is really laying out some claims, guys. It's authority up and down on that thing, that you really, even if you want to dismiss it, you have to acknowledge that it's there. And when somebody says something other than what's there, so you can't, like, I'm trying to go in order here, but so, like, let me talk a little bit more about the vagueness. Okay, so they talk about spirit guides. Okay, spirit guides, I don't think any of them have actually said, no, they actually do say that the people say to them, I'm your spirit guide. Now, is that just another way of saying angels? Would angels also say that if they were asked? Because a lot of times, like, usually people who are, the ones that are in the Christian tradition, they see an angel. They know that it's an angel because they've read. So they don't ask, like, who are you or what are you, whatever. But occasionally there will be someone who will ask. And a lot of times you get, I'm a messenger of the Most High God, like something really title oriented. It's not like, I'm your spirit guide to, like, usher you through your journey, blah, blah, blah. So who knows? I'm trying to give them the room, because our thing is defined. So I'm like, okay, that could be angels, maybe. And then they go, oh, I went to a place that was like planet. It was like Earth, but it was way better. And I'm like, heaven? And then, they're talking about how their senses are so much more heightened, and that they were able to. And it's just like, that's literally everyone that dies. Like, they just get super jazzed about stuff that, like, is already in the Bible, or already is just a reality that people know about. And then they'll be like, oh, they learned this lesson, or they, it's like, it's all about, giving is better than receiving. It's like, that's in the Bible. So, so then when they see someone other than Jesus, these people are just super jazzed up. And then they tell you, and then when it goes into the story, it's even more. The vagueness just starts digging a hole and becomes more vague. How can you stand that as a human? Like, I would be so freaked out die, to die, and then like I go up and it's like I'm on an elevator. Do you know what I mean? And it's like not Jesus there. It's like, are you Jesus? And he's like, no. You're like, where's Jesus? And he's there like, he's here. And you're like, okay, so what are we doing? He's like, you're going to your first quest. And you're like, okay, what do I have to do? He's like, well, you have to go in this building. It's like, am I dead? Technically, it's like, what's going on? It's like, you don't have a body. Like, that's you. If you went to the IRS and they did that to you, someone would have to come and you would get tased because you would be tripping. You'd be like, am I being audited or what? How much more, like, when you're in the hands of whatever, now you're way beyond you have no authority. And they're just effing with you up there. How is that fun? Where is Jesus? And then, I mean, it just, to me, I don't know, that smacks of the devil just taking the piss. I'm sorry, it does. But they love it. And then, all right, so at the same time, and this was like early in the watching where I wasn't completely fed up with yet, but like, I'm going, okay, so maybe, like, I understand that you die. There's things I'm willing to, again, I have a very, very high um, opinion of firsthand accounts because, when we're talking about, a lot of this God stuff is forensics in nature. And so, yeah, get me that witness, give me that testimony, give me somebody who saw what happened. Like, absolutely. So I don't want to dismiss these people. I'm not going to dismiss these people. And I'm going to put it in a framework because I have to. I have to. And that's not hard. I guess I've done it so much over the years. It's like, no, put it in a framework. Don't just go, oh, well, those people are drunk, other people are crazy. No. So it could be that, the devil's disguising himself as an angel of light and doing a bunch of nonsense, putting on his old uniform, whatever. It could be that it is God, but they are so, because they're not religious and because they shunned everything religious, that he's saying things to them that we all know that's all like the basics to us. But for them, it's like, they have to take it in like so, like like an IV where it's just like chewed up and everything. And so they can't even filter something like the golden rule through it because they're just so like anti anything that comes from a book. And so that is what they think is freedom, is actually putting them at a disadvantage because it's literally all the information. God's like, here's the book of all the information of, here's the manual. And you have shunned it because the person that did it had, told you that your skirt was too short. So now you won't go near it. And so now when God is trying to talk to you, you're seeing light beings and it's like, okay, angels. And you're like, and then this thing appeared and it was like a perpendicular thing. And there was two pieces of wood. It's like, you mean a cross? So it's like they just are going through this extra step, which led me to, like an idea that I'm like, This is not like, it sounds like it's vain, but it really is not. It's not vain. It is, it's completely like, I'll try to do as much support as I can, but it's just like, I'm over it. It's probably true. Like, if there is like, you know, because God can take all of our trillions and billions and however many of us there are, and He can line us up. If He really wanted to line us up from least to greatest, number one on down, He could do it. And you know, if we're getting, you've got the top, the people that are closest to Him, the people that are getting rewards, and those people are, there's people in the middle, the people that we know about. We're getting mansions, and we're getting this, and we're getting that, and we're getting all of our rewards. Then there's probably people at the way high top that their only reward is just to be near God, and that's all they want anyways. That's what they get, and maybe, then underneath that is like ruling and reigning with Christ, and underneath that, and then, around the middle, it's like we're all going to get, stuff. And then underneath that, maybe there is a something to, you think about purgatory and all of these other ideas that exist. It's like, okay, and then there's, God, Jesus Himself talks about outer darkness. I've heard a lot of people talk about this outer darkness. I've heard a lot of people talk about being in hell, that it wasn't really where they were just in a perpetual place. It wasn't even like, it wasn't hot or anything like that. It was just, but God was not there. They knew that they could not get out. They could not leave. And everyone that's in hell has that sense, no matter what they say about it, where they are, what's going on. So, everybody that's in heaven says a similar thing. Everybody that's in hell says a similar thing. And the hell thing is, I'm going to be here forever. I deserve to be here. I can't get out. There's no possible way. And they don't feel God at all. So, and then you've got people, then I've heard a couple people kind of in some sort of, it's like a place where they feel like they've been there for like thousands of years or something. And it's just like they're learning these really, 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 really elementary things. And then once they learn that elementary thing, they get to move on, and they finally make it to another place. Like, I've heard a lot of weird stuff, and that's entirely possible. And if that is possible, it's like God's doing a whole job. God's doing a whole job, and it's possible that we as Christians are getting the idea wrong about like what this is. That it's like, oh, you have to be a Christian or you're not going to make it. Be a Christian, you got to get on the boat and join the club, or you're not going to make it. And that, and to a degree, that is true. I mean, to a degree. I mean, it is. If you can conceptualize that and you can accept that, then that's what you need to do. But when you think about the nuances of that, and how, what if your heart is good, or you've got, it's like God is able to just really get into the marrow of people, and like, there's all of these things going on, all of these realities going on. And I've already said, and I still believe that, heaven is a large enough place where we could all have a different experience there, and God is a large enough, being that we could all have a different experience there. So He's all sort of giving us our things. He's doing this thing with our souls. And it could very well be that, and it says it in the Bible. I mean, there's so much, there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that we understand, and we go, no, because the word says this and the word says that. There's all of these little bitty scriptures that you just go, I don't know. Or you think it's not a big deal, or you think it's just them being verbose or whatever. There's all of these little scriptures that we overlook all the time, that we don't understand, and it could be right there. All of the stuff about being called and chosen, we don't understand that. We just go, okay, because it's like, whatever. So it could be, and like, my sheep know my voice and all this stuff, it could be that, the Christians are, or any believers of any type, are called in a certain way, and they are uh, there's different gradations. Even like the last where Revelations, it talks about Jesus coming back to earth, and then he's ruling and reigning for 1,000 years, and like what that kingdom is going to look like, and how it's like you see like, oh, and then there's the people outside the gate. You're like, who's outside the gate? Because you're thinking you're a Christian, you're either in or you're out. You either believe or you don't. And it's like, well, who's outside the city? What are we talking about? Who are all these other people? It's like maybe there's things that we're going to rule over. Maybe we are chosen really, genuinely to do certain things, and there's going to be other people like that are going to, and they're probably fine with it. Like I see these people that love the vagueness, and it's like, okay, well, and then the way that people, you think about how like people are transformed to the point where you see like people are going to heaven and see, are they seeing visions, and they're bowing down before like other believers, and they're going, don't bow before me, I'm just a person like you. But they've just been transformed, they've been, so it's like those people who love the vagueness and don't want any parts of God, maybe they're not necessarily like, you know, wicked. It's like maybe you're going to come to them and you're a deity to them because you're just so bright. And they're like, oh, who are you? And you're like, I've been here. I've been on earth. I lived on earth, and they don't know. They don't care. They don't care. It's like there's, and I won't say that they're lesser, but it's just like, what if we really are, because we're like, you don't see that? Like, we're just like, we're like, how do you not, like, it's right there in front of your face. And we're trying to, the reason why there's been a lot of religious trauma and we're going so hard is because we believe, like, listen, you got to believe this or you're going to die. And we're like, listen, this is it. And it's like, and they're like freaking out and they can't take the information. And we're like, okay, see how the grass is green? They're like, yeah. See how up is up and down is down? Yeah. Okay, Jesus is God. They can't take it. It's like they can take any other paradigm but that. It's just like, I don't know. And then, but it's so easy for us to do. Like, and then, or maybe it wasn't easy, but as soon as you found it out, you ran. As soon as you figured it out, you just fell in love with the information. You loved it. Maybe that is a unique personality or a unique person, and that not every single person is going to do that. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining this right or not, but like, another thing is that it plainly says in certain spots, like, Jesus says this whole thing about like, I don't, a servant isn't you don't let your servants in on, your this or that, but like, you're my friends, or it's like, he calls them friends. And like, part of me would be like, so there's gradations of like, you don't have to be like, who are the servants then? Like, who are the servants in the metaphor? Like, and another place where it calls Abraham his friend. What makes Abraham his friend? Because he believed in God. And we all know that it's like he believed and then God credited it to him as righteousness. So it could be that he's just plainly telling us, but we don't understand because we can't conceive of it all. But it would make sense when you see how hard it is, or how few people want to like really accept the full information, that the people who will accept the full information are considered friends of God. people that he can talk to openly about stuff. And so he can talk openly about uh, his plans, because you will, it's like, God's like, I'm God. Do you believe that? You're like, yeah. He's like, do you for real? Because it's just so much. Get this God, that God, bring down rain, and what, and like just all of the nonsense. Literally, those people, those ancient people groups, were close enough to the bloodline to know that God created everybody, to have heard the stories, to have had probably Adam and Eve as their great, great, great greats, and have heard about them. And they're still out here just worshiping whoever. Who are those people? Probably some fallen angels that are like, y'all want to do something like less stuffy than this. And they're like, yeah. You want to see some cool stuff? You want to learn how to make weapons? Yeah. You want to learn how to paint your faces? Girls? Sure. They're like, that's all that was. And then God goes to somebody and it's like, do you believe I'm God? I made this whole thing. Do you believe that? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you come with me. Let's go. That's literally that. Like, that's the whole story. That's the whole story, guys. God found a dude that believed the truth and he rolled with that dude. And that's why today there's a whole people group that, God will not allow to be destroyed. That's literally the only reason. It's faith. Believed. God said he's righteous for that. For belief. Belief in what? In what's actually real. So, like I said, I don't think, oh, we're just so high and mighty because we are Christians. It's like we're clearly getting it up the butt, like, which is going to be part of it. So, no servant is greater than his master, is what the Bible say. And we're clearly following in the holy and righteous tradition of getting it up the butt from everybody on earth who doesn't want to hear anything what you got to say. It's like that's our thing. So yeah, I think it all makes sense. There's no part of that that's out of place that doesn't make any sense. You're on the earth. You come to the earth. There's a lot of stuff about, oh, I chose this. I chose my mom and this and that. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have the. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, yeah, I'm sure if you're a new Christian, you want to be like, you don't want anybody thinking about anything other than what the Bible freaking says. But like, my inner instinct, based on everything that I know of God, is God probably just planned that whole thing out for you. Like, I don't know why people want these people that want to be, they created their own hell, and they picked out their parents, and they picked out the people that are going to be on the thing with them, but there's no judgment. So every horrible thing that's ever happened is just going to get chalked to the game. That's where you want to live. Like, the more you hear these alternate things, because they all kind of go around the same, they have that in common. It's like, that's just complete and total denial of, like, that doesn't even reflect reality. So how would the afterlife, where your soul is literally subject to everything, how is that more flippant than here? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It makes sense that this is the place that makes the that determines what happens next. Why would this place be the determiner? Why would the temporary place be the determiner? And then they'll say that this is a testing place. But then they'll be like, oh, well, there's no grades. It doesn't make any sense. So, like I said, I knew this was going to go over. So I'm gonna do another one because I'm ranting this afternoon. It's my afternoon rant. I got to get this off my chest. I'm major triggered. So part one done.